Okay, everybody, take your seats and all sit down. All right. Everybody's having a nice time. I have a favor before we get going. This is like our opening night of Summer Fishtrap. I'll only ask you one favor all week.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. So when I say, welcome to the 39th Summer Fishtrap Gathering of Writers, go nuts! Okay, you ready? Like really, with all the juices in your body. You ready? This is for posterity. We're recording. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the 39th Summer Fishtrap Gathering of Writers. I'm excited too. My name's Mike Midlo. I'm the program director here. Many of you have had a good day already. You know, since 1988, writers and thinkers have gathered here at Wallowa Lake for a week of creativity and connection in this inspiring setting. As most of you know, some of you may know not, this is the traditional homeland of the Nimipu, the Nez Perce people, and we encourage you to learn more about their story. It'll make your week more meaningful. And to that end, the Josephi Center for Arts and Culture in Joseph has a new exhibit. It's called The Nez Perce Story Continues. It's really cool. I went last weekend. And they are staying open for Summer Fishtrap participants, a little bit later, so you can go. Tomorrow and Thursday, they're staying open until 5:30, so if you can sneak out in the afternoon and check out the exhibit, it'll be worth your time. All right, this is one of my favorite parts of the week, and it begins, I always want to know who you folks are. If you do me a favor, all of you who came just for tonight's event from town or are vacationing at Wallowa Lake, would you raise your hand so we can kind of, yeah, man, that's quite a few. Thank you. Yeah. We also want to welcome all of you who are watching at home with your feet up on the couch. At fishtrap.org or on Fishtrap's YouTube channel. We're glad to have you too. Many of you are, the rest of you are Summer Fishtrap registrants. You're here for a week of creative writing and connection in this inspiring setting. Would all of you who, maybe this is your first Summer Fishtrap, raise your hand so we can kind of think, dang. Now I want all you first-time folks to take a look at the other folks so you can go and ask them questions and get their hot tips. How many here have attended Summer Fishtrap? 1 to 5 times over the years. That's impressive. How about like 10 or more years? Dang, that's really great. So we also had like little beads in your name tags to kind of identify who some of you are first-timers or some of you who are want to connect with a veteran Summer Fishtrap participant. That would be great. We also have 2 of Fishtrap's 3 founders here tonight, Kim Stafford and Rich Wanschneider, who runs the library at the Josephi Center, and you can meet him. Other people you might meet this week, Eastern Oregon University's Masters of Fine Arts program in creative writing, part of their master's program is attending Summer Fishtrap. It's part of the program. So you might meet people in your class who are just starting their MFA program. They're always fun to have in your classes. They're always deep thinkers and super enthusiastic. Keep a lookout for them. We also have 2 Fishtrap fellows. Since 1990, Fishtrap has awarded fellowships to new and emerging writers who show promise at an early point in their career. They'll be featured as the warm-up act on Saturday night for our keynote with Ellen Waterston. In your program, you can learn all about Indian Sam. Super cool, folks. We also have scholarship recipients. Each year we try to give scholarships. If you are interested in providing or helping to fund a scholarship for somebody who may or may not be able to come to Summer Fishtrap for one reason or another, you know, missing work, daycare, elder care, whatever it is, and would like to fund a scholarship, get a hold of Shannon or Jennifer Hobbs. It's really a nice way to give back. And then we also have our year-long writers workshop where people start at Summer Fishtrap and then learn by distance throughout the year and then conclude the next year at Summer Fishtrap. We both have a group who are concluding their year-long group and some are just launching it now. Excuse me. The goal of the year-long program is to complete a manuscript by the end of the year. And oftentimes it happens. And then Summer Fishtrap, of course, is possible thanks to generous support from the following foundations and partners. The Book Loft, our great friends, Eastern Oregon University, Collins Foundation, the James F. and Marion Miller Foundation, the Kinsman Foundation, Marie Lampham and Charitable Foundation, Oregon Arts Commission, Roundhouse Foundation, and of course our pals here at Wallowa Lake Lodge, who we partner with every year. Plus, there are more than 24 local businesses and organizations who stepped up to make this week extra special. We'll talk more about them later on. You can go back to that booth there and see who they all are and learn more. And dig this. Since the very first Summer Fishtrap in 1988, Fishtrap has partnered with our local bookstore, the Book Loft. And as you see, Becky has a small version of the Book Loft in the lodge, and she is donating 20% of all book purchases back to Fishtrap. So if you're going to buy a book, please do it through the Book Loft. Yeah? I agree. And of course, you can see the whole week's schedule in your program. It looks like this. Janice made that. Isn't that pretty? It's also reflected in our merch. I kind of like that. Of course, all you folks who are here from the public, all evening readings are open to the public. They're all free, except for Saturday nights keynote, but you can get tickets in the lodge or at fishtrap.org. Plus, bring friends. This is kind of a fun thing to have. Okay, let's get to the show, Each year, since the beginning, Summer Fishtrap has hinged on a theme. It's a place to start conversations and writing. And some of these themes have been as diverse as love, or courage, or steering the craft. It's always a good jumping point, a spark to start writing and conversation. This year, we were thinking about the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and with conversations with the community, staff, board, we came up with Our American Story. And to kick that off, I would like to welcome Fishtrap's Executive Director, Shannon McNerney. Come on up. Go.
Hi. I love this time of year. Thank you for coming tonight. There's too many things. Okay. I wanted to, first off, just welcome you, but I'm going to do a little reading and talk a little bit about the theme as I try to do every year. But mostly, before I get started, seeing all of you here, it means a lot to all of us, and I want to thank you each for being here and for showing up from the community, and for those of you that were just driving by the lake and went, what's up with the big top, that you took a chance on us, so thank you for coming up tonight. So, you did it. You're here. You survived parking nightmares, traffic, maybe an airport or 3, car trouble, decision fatigue, introversion, extroversion, aches, pains, imposter syndrome, information overload, AI slop, gas prices, algae gate, and still you made it. Whether you've traveled from Wisconsin or Wallowa, just know how glad I am to see you here, truly. You're sharing time with Fishtrap, with our community, and that means something. It means something to each of us who get to work for and with this organization. So before I say anything else, I want to thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge some folks who make this week possible, and I'm going to start with the staff. So the Fishtrap staff, Mike Midlo, who you just saw, Jennifer Hobbs, who's in the back corner making you feel good about yourself all the time, Janice Carper, who's all things wonderful, and Nadia Papineau, who I'm going to say her name wrong every time. Nadia, this is her first Summer Fishtrap as a staff member. She was a youth Summer Fishtrap participant. She grew up in Wallowa. She was on our board, and we are so excited to have her here. So welcome all of them and thank them for me. I'd also like to thank the Fishtrap board. If I have board members in the audience, could you raise your hands? We'll wave them around. There's a few on the deck. They're around here. Thank those folks. They truly step up this week. Our 10 amazing Fishtrap faculty. We also have 26 volunteers who have signed up to be here throughout the week. 26, folks. This is a county of 7,000 or 8,000 people. 26 people are coming here this week to help out. And of course, the staff of the Wallowa Lake Lodge. I'd also like to thank all of our Wallowa County neighbors and friends, everybody from the folks that come up to support us to the folks who offer to let our dogs out when we're here all day. So thank you to this community. We couldn't do this without you. So, this is my 11th Summer Fishtrap. Standing in front of you each summer is quite a privilege. I remember very clearly, I was thinking about this today, the first time Mike invited / told me to give an opening address to Summer Fishtrap. I had just been with the organization for a few months. And while I was definitely a lover of good writing, a musician who had lots of stage experience, the thought of standing in front of you, reading something I wrote, did I mention it would be in public, as the new director, the first Fishtrap had ever had from outside the literary arts or the Fishtrap immediate community. When I asked Mike what that expectation was, he just said, oh, it's not a big deal, really. Just set the tone for the week. 10 minutes should be fine. Y'all know how many words are in a 10-minute? Okay. So there began several weeks of writing-free worry. Emphasize the writing-free. So finally, and not for the first time, I asked Rich Schwanschneider for advice. If you don't know who he is, look him up, or look over, he's around here somewhere, he's back there, look over there. Better yet, see if you can't strike up a conversation with him sometime this week. I highly recommend it. Rich, I said, and I don't know if you remember this, I came to him and I said, how do I stand in front of all of these Fishtrap people, these writers who don't know anything about me, and presume to speak to them? I'm not a writer. And I was just shaking. And he said, Shannon, they just want to know something about you. Be open, be honest, and show them who you are. So that's what I did. I wrote my first Fishtrap essay, weaving a little bit of my story into that year's theme, which was Frontiers and Fences, beginning with a I'm not a writer qualifier. I remember 10 minutes of shaking as I read my non-writer essay in front of my first gathering. At the end of the opening, the lovely Bob Pyle, who was on faculty that year, came up to me and said, let that be the last time you ever say you're not a writer. I learned a few lessons that first Summer Fishtrap that I keep with me to this day, and I'd like to pass them on to you or to anyone else who might need to hear them. First, if you write and you're willing to share some of what you write with someone else, you're a writer. CV be damned. Second, never give self-deprecating qualifiers before you start to read. It makes other folks feel nervous at best, and it doesn't do your work any service. Finally, the people you'll meet at Fishtrap are kind and curious and want to know something real about you. Even better, they often recognize something about themselves in the transaction. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing together this week. Fishtrap is a place for generative writing. It's what we build our entire creative programming around, and what, aside from this beautiful place, makes this place unique. So what's a generative writing workshop? It focuses, and this is for folks that may not know, but it focuses on the act of writing over the final product. It's about connecting to your creativity to write something brand new. It's about writing, not producing. At its best, it's about the delving into the love of words, the power of sharing stories, and the thrill that comes from making something out of nothing but your own miraculous brain cells. your roots, your soul, and possibly a muse or two. Generative writing is available to everyone. It's a democratic process. It doesn't care what your 11th grade English teacher thought, your degree, your CV, your publishing history, or your preferred genre. It's about you and your pen and paper or your keyboard or your phone or a voice memo or a stack of Post-its. The craft of writing is the thing. The final product, that's up to you. It may come later or it may not come at all. There's no grade, there's no book deal on the line or agent to impress. Some of you have come here with previous work or work in progress. That's great. Write something new anyway. See what comes up for you. Feel it in your heart, feel it in your body. We want you to write, to practice, to be writers, to be storytellers and connectors, to remind folks why words matter, to give yourself the gift of making art for art's sake. Small word of caution, and I say this the last couple of years, but it bears repeating. Generative writing can sometimes strike deep wells or uncover long buried caves. It can bring up emotions and memories that catch you by surprise. It may even unearth a demon or a fairy or an ex-boyfriend. Take courage and know that it's okay, that you're okay. And if it gets to be too much, take a beat, take a walk, make a note, give yourself some space. Take the space that you need. Remember too that you're sharing time with lots of other folks who may be going through their own creative and emotional discoveries. It's okay to hit pause and jump in the lake. I recommend it. To remind yourself that you're here to create. If you need more support, that's why I'm here. That's why Mike's here. That's why this amazing faculty is here. We've got you. This is the 39th time people who value diverse voices, inclusive spaces, and creative expressions, curiosity, lifelong learning, and good writing in and about the West have gathered at the head of Olawa Lake to be inspired. It's a privilege to do it here in the homeland and gathering place of the Nimipu, the Umatilla, the Cayuse, and the Walla Walla. Think of the countless stories that have sprung from the voices of people who lived here and loved and died on these lands for thousands of years. Your words are about to be added to that tradition. Treat it with honor and empathy. My hope for you, all of you, writer or listener, is that you find opportunities to challenge and express yourself, knowing that you have the full support of your Fishtrap community, of all of us here, and that you take the opportunity to support those around you as they take their own creative risks. Thusly, a brave space is created. So why this theme? At the beginning, it started with the planned national recognition of the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. I'm going to make you do this. If you know the first sentence, say it with me. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these are A+. The official explanation we wrote for the website says this: for many, this will be a celebration of a time when people fought for the right to call themselves American, not English. For others, it commemorates aspiration, freedom, and possibility. And for too many, it represents loss, exclusion, and violence. Our individual roots and lived experiences as Americans are as diverse and complex as the landscapes and communities that make up this place. Our hope for the Summer Fishtrap gathering is that it will provide you with the opportunity to explore your individual history and understanding of what it means to be an American, while listening to and learning from the experiences of others. Together, we'll begin to uncover our rich, inclusive, collective American stories. In other words, e pluribus unum, out of many, one. But there's more to it than that. We hold our truths to be self-evident. In February, during Winter Fishtrap, we held an oral storytelling workshop based on the same theme. I think few of you were there. At the opening of that weekend, I read these words from Thomas Paine, written in 1776. A lot of you know this too. These are the times that try men's souls, The Summer Soldier and the Sunshine Patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. Yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives us everything its value. Heaven knows how to put a proper price on its goods, and it would be strange indeed if so celestial an article as freedom should not be so highly rated. Your story is important. It matters, and it's part of a bigger whole. Each American story we carry is a thread in a tapestry of our collective American story. I would argue that being thoughtful about the stories we choose to carry as listeners and tellers is as important now as it has ever been. E pluribus unum. Here's what I think. There are lots of voices telling their version of the American story, their truth, their experiences, and that's okay. I think you need to take the time to listen to what they have to say. That's where empathy begins. But there is no one American story. Your story is as worthy of attention as any writer, leader, philosopher, historian, pundit, politician, or president. You don't need a disclaimer or a disqualifier. Your American story makes our American story all the more triumphant, painful, nuanced, diverse, rich, and beautiful. Don't be silenced by anyone who tells you otherwise. Tell your story. Write your words. I hope this generative process fuels your work this week. This is the reason for Summer Fishtrap every year. The brave space we create here together is about bringing your passion, your writing, your understanding, your inspiration into being. Your words matter. They can and will change worlds. Fishtrap cultivates clear thinking and good writing in and about the West. Put another way, Fishtrap creates a space for you to bring clear thinking and good writing into existence. For you to be creative, connect, and build community. That applies to everyone here, by the way, not just the writers. Let go and let that generative energy free and see where it takes you. So every year, I give you an assignment, and this is no exception. In the next week, I challenge you to do the following. Do your best to put away the troubles of the world, or at least the news feeds of the world. Fishtrap can't fix the world, but we can make it a little bit quieter. For the next week, make this place a home for your writing. Turn off your news feed, shut off your notifications. It's not selfish, it's necessary. Second, be outside, except maybe Friday, but we'll talk about that. Wear sunscreen. Take in this place, breathe the air, touch the ground, look at the sky, listen to the river, the birds, connect to this place. And I think you might find a deeper connection to your own voice, the voice that lives deep inside of you. Third, I've said this before and I'm gonna keep saying it, be aware of powerful words. I'm gonna suggest you put away should and maybe replace it with one or more of these. Will, can, try, create, and yes, and even sometimes no. Next, I encourage you to take advantage of this amazing group of people and connect with someone new. I'm more convinced than ever that connection is everything. Write together, learn together, eat together. Eat with me, ask me to dinner, I'll come, probably. And don't forget to play. When's the last time you played? Remember that? Challenge yourself to do something silly every day you're here. Hug a tree, post a funny drawing on a bulletin board, share a joke, spin around until you're dizzy. Okay, maybe not if you're over 40, don't do that, but you know. Finally, I ask you to join me, the Fishtrap staff, faculty, in creating a brave space for all of us to do this good work together. Creating a brave space requires that everyone agrees to lean in to difficult conversations and concepts, to ask clarifying questions, center your listening, and be thoughtful with your responses. Take full responsibility for your own emotions and reactions. Creating a brave space takes courage, a willingness to be vulnerable, an openness to constructive criticism, and a centering of empathy. Remember empathy? We're here to write and share stories and poems, yes, but also to take care of each other. So be brave, take risks, make mistakes, be kind to yourselves and others, pay attention, listen, participate, speak up, learn, try something new, except the spinning thing maybe. It's our privilege to serve you, you writers who constantly strive to do better work. You show your courage every time you put your pen to paper. You inspire us all with your willingness to be vulnerable and open to new ways of creating and sharing your inner world with the world. Know you are surrounded by people who come to be inspired by you, your words, and read your work, and to cheer you on. You are a part of Fishtrap's story now. Thank you for making it that much richer for your voice. Welcome to the 39th Summer Fishtrap Gathering of Writers. Let's go get some writing done.
Okay. Thanks, Shannon. So this is what's cool for, as is tradition, we bring some of the greatest writers and storytellers in the West together to lead workshops. Most of you are signed up to hang out with these cool people and be inspired by them. And then we always invite them to do a featured reading in the evenings. And it's really cool when people from the state park mill in, or folks who just happen to be here for dinner. Oh, what's going on here? Or folks from the Valley, or even Lewiston or LeGrand come in because one of their favorite writers is reading. Each night, typically, we have 3 featured readers. They're in the program, on the posters, on the website. But tonight, we're going to start with one of Fishtrap's biggest champions, longest friends. Ellen Waterston has been a part of and in support of and a cheerleader for Fishtrap for more than 30 years. Ellen will is now our Oregon Poet Laureate, which has been a blast to see how the energy that's been coming from Ellen in visiting communities and being a part of the Poet Laureate. You'll learn more about that on Saturday. But let me just introduce Ellen. Tonight she gets to do her reading, and I'm excited to see what that's going to be. Here we go. Poet, author, and columnist Ellen Waterston has dedicated herself to writing and advocating for the literary arts in the high desert region of Oregon, all the while continuing to write poetry and nonfiction works that have evolved into essential reading about Oregon and the West, including, most recently, We Could Die Doing This and Walking the High Desert. Waterston is the... Oops, I missed a page, Ellen. Oh, there's a whole nother one. I'm sorry. It's really good, guys. Oh my gosh. I'll read your full bio on Saturday. Ellen, of course, is our Oregon Poet Laureate. And most recently, she published We Could Die Doing This and Walking the High Desert. Waterston is the founder, and this is cool. If you don't know about the Writing Ranch, take a look, and the annual Waterston Desert Writing Prize. She gives back as much as she gives. Please give a big welcome to Ellen Waterston.
Hi. Getting organized. Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Hello, everyone. Fishtrap, you don't look a day over 39. It's really wonderful to be here to reconnect with old friends and the opportunity to make new ones. Here's to the Bears Den workshop group. We had an awesome meeting this morning. Yay. Yay to all of you out there. Just look where we are. May this place, this beautiful place, inspire and propel our pens across the page this week as we each craft our unique versions of our American story. And we just heard such a wonderful invocation from Shannon. And speaking of, I want to repeat some thanks. I want to thank Shannon. I want to thank Mike, Janice, Nadja, Jennifer, all the Fishtrap board staff, volunteers who make this happen, and for this year's compelling theme. And thank you, Becky of the Book Loft. And I bow to Rich Wanschneider and all who first conjured this miracle, Kim Stafford here this week, chief among them. Fishtrap has been a mainstay in my life since 1998, when I came to the summer gathering as a fellow in poetry. Since then, there have been Fishtrap residencies, retreats, and opportunities to serve on the faculty here and at Outpost. Fishtrap has not only fostered me as an author, poet, and teacher, but also was the inspiration for the Writing Ranch, offering workshops and retreats since 2000. Was the inspiration for The Nature of Words, the literary nonprofit I started in Bend in 2002, which after 13 years morphed into the Desert Writing Prize that Mike mentioned. That prize is now 12 years old and was adopted as a program of the High Desert Museum in 2020. It's a prize that recognizes nonfiction book proposals about deserts anywhere in the world. So here I am before you tonight, entering a second term as Oregon's Poet Laureate. Sure, you get it, I'm tooting my own horn. But all of this is just one of many, many examples of the creative impact and daisy chain effect an idea as wonderful as Fishtrap has. Thank you. So in Sweden, there's a tradition called Tillfällesdikt. In Norway, it's called Leilivhetsdikt. They both mean a poem written for a special occasion. In Scandinavia, writing occasionals is a business. My most recent collection of poetry that didn't make it into the bio announcement is titled As Far as I Can Anthem, and features poems largely written during my first year as Poet Laureate, put together really as a thank you note to Governor Tina Kotek, to whom I'm enormously grateful for the appointment, as well as the many arts agencies, organizations, and businesses that help support this program. So lots of these poems were written for certain special occasions across the state over that first year. Poems that turn out to be a celebration of Oregon, and particularly of the high desert, my home for decades, first as a rancher, now as a townie. I'd like to share a few of them with you tonight. So we're going to start with a poem. I write nonfiction as well, and I do a series for an organization called the Oregon Desert Land Trust. It's a land conservancy working in southeastern Oregon, and they invited me to do some interviews with people who are living out in that desert. How is it we can love the same thing so differently? Let's articulate how we love this place, albeit so differently. So this particular interview was a young couple who would be the 6th, 7th generation of a family ranching this particular area in the Trout Creek Mountains. If you know where they are, they're the border of Oregon and Nevada. And so I set out too late from Bend, Oregon, where I live, in the day, forgetting, as I'm apt to do, that it's a 6-hour drive. The day I headed out was November 3rd, 2020. It was the evening of the presidential election. And this young couple would greet me. So I drove, I spent the night in Fields, and I went on the next day and met with this young couple. So that's the context for this poem. And the poem is titled Static. Eve of the presidential election, November 2024. A remote highway in southeastern Oregon, late on a moonless November night. Here and there, my headlights might illuminate a reflective sign, wildlife refuge, wilderness area. That's about it. I tune in for news of my nation's fate, but only get static. Who's winning, I wonder? The road ahead looks dark and empty. But just then, out of the pitch, what is it? A mysterious single bobbing beam coming at me, too high, too slow for anything I can name. I tell myself, be thankful for any emissary of light. Closing in, turns out my redeemer's a solo cowboy at a trot. Headlamp secured above his brim, rifle and lasso strapped to the saddle horn. Maybe looking for strays? Putting venison in the freezer? Returning home after a visit with a far-flung neighbor? Does he wonder who's winning? I tune in for news of our country's fate, but only get static. Driving the next day, I ponder the dwindling Lahontan cutthroat, take pleasure in the skulking coyote, the golden rabbit brush, the Angus grazing in the meadows, the snow-dusted pueblos. I tune in for news of our shared habitat's fate, but only get static. Finally, I'm there. The sign on the gate says, their pit bulls don't take kindly to liberals. I knock anyway and go in, only to find lapdogs and common cause with the land we love in common. There's no discussion of winners, of losers, only doers in the race to conserve the grand scheme of all things wild and working. We turn off the static. So, speaking of occasionals, this next one was written after, and in reflecting on a fundraiser for the Pine Mountain Observatory, which is an observatory outside of Bend. Some of you may have been there, and it's operated by the University of Oregon. And so it was in Bend and at somebody's home, and they had an astronomer there who was going to speak to us, and I thought about this. It's titled Travel Delay. The astronomer was there that night to raise money for an observatory that crowned a nearby butte in otherwise flat desert country. The guests, if pressed, would confess to feeling weary of being seen as dollar signs, not stars. But the featured speaker knew this, so dazzled them with the notion that some of the starlight overhead was but a gleaming echo, a radiant dirge birthed by something long gone. That diamond in the sky, nothing more than an ember of time-delayed memory. Wait, what if we're already dead, you and I? The illumination of a life already spent. I used to fear death, feared tumbling lost through grotesque galactic nebulae, the leering gargoyles of the infinite. But now I clearly see my task for the next 1,000,000 years is to reflect the life I had, one that was and is as bright and real as a beam of pure light. We are all stars. I write a check. Actually, that was the fictional part of the poem. I didn't write a check. But I wrote a poem, not the poem they expected. So, there is a guy in Oregon, Hunter Nowak, who had this idea of putting his Steinway on a flatbed wrapped in bubble wrap and on top of a few mattresses and haul it around to state and national parks and offer free classical piano concerts. Often he will invite people to join him who either are playing music or, in my case, willing to write a poem about the place. I've had the good fortune of joining up with Hunter in various wonderful locations in the high desert, and this is the poem I wrote when he deposited his piano on the shore of East Lake. If you know Central Oregon, well, you'll learn about East Lake and its sister lake right now. So picture this piano. It's just so wonderful. And people come with chairs like this and a picnic, and everybody comes. Everybody comes. Bucket Brigade. Scoured by Newberry's molten magma. Starting again. Scoured by Newberry's molten magma, 75 millennia ago, East Lake and Paulina came up fishless. The blast locked the clear-eyed sisters inside a stone-faced caldera. No way for a fish to get in. Until 1912. Rainbows were transported to Bend by train, then wagon loads to Lapine, and last pack horses to the lake's shore. Half the gasping fingerlings were released into Paulina. The rest bucket brigaded overland to East Lake in 5-gallon kerosene cans. Since, other Pisces have been added, Brook, Brown, and Kokanee, a bona fide fisherman's jamboree. All this history makes me wonder, what bucket brigade of events brought each one of us here? What combination of free will and coercion, fire and ice, greed, fear, and passion? To net the answers, we won't need a jig, a spinner, a popper, or fly. If we stay very still and silent, the answers will quietly rise, trailing our lines of thought lazily off the stern of our recollections. Let's catch and keep the memories too good to forget. Thank and release those that are not. And gentle away, gentle away, gentle away, leaving a small wake of hope. How are we doing? Okay, we got 2 more. That's a paid political yay. My plant. So these last two poems are not occasionals, but they are, so much for the shawl effect. They are high desert. And this one is inspired, but in my time, I've lived in that high desert for 50 years. And this poem is inspired, or I guess that would be the word, by the very, very dramatic evidence that I have witnessed in my lifetime of climate change in the high desert. And I'm sure all of us can kind of say that. So, excuse me. Life is uncertain. All he wants when surveying the windrows, the fresh bales, when nursing purpled nail and blistered palm, is to know she'll be waiting for him at home in the evening, and he can ask her, "Do you remember when last February's record-breaking snow buckled the barn roof, the melt flooding the fields and filling the daylight basement? How he joked he had to swim to bed, wear irrigation boots to shoot pool? Or when the Pandora moth carcasses were so thick last June, they piled up like snowdrifts under the streetlights in town, the wings and antennae like frail, dusky ferns on the pavement? Or in August, when the swallows suddenly left their acrobatics and tart chirps no longer spicing the evening, their empty mud-daubed nests like featureless faces mouthing, "No, no." How bereft he was to see them go. No sign of them since or now. Or when the greasy smoke from the forest fires never lifted all fall, the water in the swollen reservoirs and nursing rivers recruited until dry, the sun an angry orange coming and going in the sky, throwing bloody flames when eclipsed by the moon. How he'd shuddered at the sudden darkness and cold. Or the day the Pioneer Saloon stopped serving dessert. Not even fudge cake. How, without dessert, without anything sweet, the way the world was going to hell in a handbasket, he didn't know what to eat first. He wasn't joking anymore. All he wants when surveying another season is to know she'll be waiting for him at home in the evening, and he can ask her, "Do you remember when we couldn't have said any of this?" She'll take his calloused hand in hers and nod and say, "Yes." Okay. This is it, if I can find it. Oh, there it is. So rancher to townie. That's the Cliff Notes version. This is the townie speaking, and it's titled Urban Coyote. And before I read this, it's my final poem, and thank you ever so much for your attention. Thank you, Fishtrap, for inviting me to be part of this first night of the week, this wonderful week ahead of us. Urban Coyote. I shield my eyes from the sun to get a better look at him. Maybe he thought I was saluting. Maybe he thought I was saluting as though he of higher rank. Or maybe he thought I was merely tipping my cap in acknowledgement of our mutual surrender. Both of us reduced to scavenging the artificial green of subdivisions, skulking through graveyards of former forests, thirsting along dry creek beds. For both of us, this, after decades living out in the infinite of the high and wide desert. But he looked fine, his coat bushy and full. We do what we have to do. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, that was, thank you, Ellen, for kicking this thing off. After this, Ellen will be in the lobby of the lodge at the book loft for a book signing or just to visit with her. Please go in and say hello. We do have this raffle going on, and each day we're going to do a little drawing from the raffle. So Jennifer Hobbs, come on up. Come on. Yeah. So is this for the Fish Trapper raffle?
This is for the Fish Trapper raffle.
Yeah.
And if anybody is a fish trapper, it's our monthly donors. Thank you. But if you're a fish trapper and you haven't put a green ticket in here, it's not too late. We're going to do a drawing every single day. And it's for Fish Trap swag, and just one of the very small ways we thank you for the very big things that this program does. Thank you. So the first drawing, here we go. David Beckman, are you here? You need not be present to win. I will track you down. So.
Yay. All right. Hey, tomorrow's schedule is super. It starts bright and early. You might have seen this thing in your schedule that says Sunrise with Craig Childs. What is that, Craig? Stand up.
What is that? Tomorrow morning, I will be at 7 o'clock. I will be down at the lake with shakuhachi, Japanese food. I'll be playing down in the water, starting around 7. If you want to find me, walk across the bridge here and take a right on the other side of the river, and just head down toward the lake and listen to the flute. You can come and go as you wish. You can stay for 10 seconds and then run off on your own, or whatever you would like. Feel free to come by and listen to a little flute at sunrise.
Yeah, man. Last time Craig was here, it was a very meditative and lovely way to start the day. So feel free to do that. Of course, your morning writing workshop started at 9 a.m. And then at 1:30 tomorrow, Tim Hernandez is giving a talk about the adaptation of his best-selling book, All They Will Call You, into a documentary. We were talking with him about it today, and he's going to show a short trailer from this documentary that's been 16 years in the making, and talk about the challenges of adapting a book to the screen. I think you'll find it fascinating. And then at 3 p.m., Dr. David Mildrexler, he's a local guy, scientist, offers his now famous tree walk. Some of you have done this before around the grounds in this cathedral of old growth trees, telling you about the trees and how they're carbon sinks and how they're a part of the bigger ecosystem. Make sure you have shade, sturdy shoes, hat, water. Meet here at the lodge at 3 o'clock. And then Wednesday night's readings, again, are open to the public. I hope you all come and bring your friends. Our lineup, it's a great one. Ana Maria Spagna, Laura Pritchett, and Tim Hernandez. So come have a great night tonight, travel safely, and we'll see you tomorrow.